Welcome to the show, which I'm calling the Hoovler World, made famous by the 1980s song, Everybody Wants the Hoovler World. Okay. The main purpose of this video is to give my 2023 Discord Darling reveal, the guy I'm convinced will win everyone their fantasy football leagues. And to do so, I have to talk about DeAndre Swift and the Eagles. Now, you may be thinking, is this it? Are we finally going to get Swift? Is he the Discord Darling? Are we finally going to have DeAndre Swift pay off for us? Absolutely not. No way. That makes no sense. But the reason why I need to talk about Swift was he was my 2021 Discord Darling. And the award back then was gaining a lot of popularity because my 2020 Discord Darling was none other than Josh Allen, who was going remarkably cheap in drafts and auctions and ended up being the #1 fantasy football player. We told everyone to draft him. So when I told everyone to draft DeAndre Swift, a lot of people did. And we were generally happy until we weren't, but time and time again, it just seemed like Detroit did not like him. When he was on the field, he was producing amazingly, but he wasn't on the field much. And I had to think about that because I wanted to know if we could have known that they didn't like him and how they could have known. And I looked at numbers and I looked at stats, and finally I realized I was overthinking it. And if I go to DeAndreSwift.com, I see his famous catchphrase, say no more, but right under that is say more. Now, this is a site owned by the Lions to sell his merchandise, and they've misspelled his catchphrase at the top of the page in huge letters. Now, you may be thinking, well, maybe they put a twist on it for some reason, but I would argue this is obviously a typo for 3 reasons. Number 1, it's right below his correctly spelled phrase, say no more. Number 2, it's right above an image of DeAndre Swift giving the shh motion, indicating say no more. And number 3, mo is short for more, which would make that phrase say more. So it's obvious that he was disliked by his team long ago, and I'm glad I figured that out so I could not repeat my mistakes when I give my 2023 Discord Darling, who is a quarterback currently being ranked in the 70s overall, currently going for $3 in auction at ESPN and $10 in Yahoo. But I know what you're saying if you're part of the Discord. I don't care about any of that stuff. Does this quarterback pass your bounce test? For those who aren't familiar with it, I came up with a test after watching a lot of video during the pandemic that I used to determine if a player is going to break out at quarterback. See, for decades, I've noticed that when a running quarterback is a rookie in the NFL, there's a rhythm when he drops back. He drops back and he bounces with his legs. But when the pocket starts to collapse or his first read isn't open, I've noticed these quarterbacks have an increase in their rhythm. They're thinking of relying on their feet. They're not learning the game. They're thinking of getting out of the pocket like they did in college. And in scientific terms, there's a hitch in their giddy-up. And I've seen this in almost every quarterback forever, except I didn't see it in one quarterback his rookie year, Patrick Mahomes. And that was the year before Patrick Mahomes had the biggest leap forward in both fantasy and quarterback history. And so I was kind of watching for it in the back of my mind, and I saw it in 2020 in Josh Allen. My theory is that these quarterbacks are going to take the hit. They're going to take the I'm not going to get yards on every play in order to adjust to the speed of the game faster. And I went back and I watched the tape of a bunch of quarterbacks, and the only other one I saw who had passed this bounce test, he's bouncing at the same rhythm, was Andrew Luck right before he had his breakout season. And so I was excited to apply it to people, but everyone failed, everyone failed. Rookie year, Joe Burrow failed. Rookie year, Trevor Lawrence failed. Everyone failed, except for this person. And this person, my 2023 Discord Darling, is Trevor Lawrence. And I know what you're thinking. You just said he failed, Evan. And I did say he failed his rookie year. But his rookie year, Urban Myers was his coach, and I can't imagine you're keeping your mind on the game when you think your coach is going to run in and kick you at any point in time or whatever. I gave him a pass, and so I watched his tape this whole month from his second season. And he not only keeps his even bounce when the pocket's collapsing, at times he even slows it down and looks around. He's taking in the game. He's adjusting to the speed of it. Not only that, he's got a very vengeful, I hope, Calvin Ridley. And I'm convinced that Trevor Lawrence will be the player that wins you your fantasy leagues if you draft him at his current capital. Now, it's May. He could start shooting up the boards. We'll revisit this every month. But for now, my 2023 Discord darling is Trevor Lawrence. See you next time. Whoops, I'm tacking this part on at the end because I didn't do my due diligence. I went to DeAndreSwift.com to figure out that his team didn't like him, but I didn't go to TrevorLawrence.com. So right now, I'm going to TrevorLawrence.com, and we're going to see exactly what his team thinks of him, if they care enough about him to spell his catchphrase correctly. Let's see. TrevorLawrence.com is parked free, courtesy of GoDaddy.com. Get this domain. Well, yes. Let's do that. I'm not sure if this means his team doesn't like him enough to get him, or what. Let's see here. Oh, something big. It's taken. I thought it wasn't. We might be able to give it to broker service fee, $69.99 plus commission. It's a what? Let's put this in the cart and see. How does this work? What is going on? Does his team not? Oh. So his team doesn't care enough to pay the $70 broker fee, which is like hiring an agent, I guess, to negotiate a contract with him. That's food for thought. And I'm going to be thinking about it until next time. This time, for Football Absurdity, this is Evan Hoovler saying goodbye. Goodbye. This is the really awkward part where I reach to turn off the camera.